Salve, salve, pessoal! Sejam muito bem-vindos. Que alegria estar aqui com vocês hoje, iniciando o workshop com Howard Martin. Estou vendo aqui nos comentários muita gente se manifestando, várias partes do Brasil inteiro. Estou vendo aqui a Lu de Criciúma, a Vanessa de Manduri, São Paulo, a Denise aqui de Curitiba, o Dan de São Paulo, a Gláucia de Joaçaba, a Rosana de Fortaleza, Evelyn de Brasília, Michele de Belo Horizonte, Fernando do Rio de Janeiro, a Raquel de Bento Gonçalves, Denise de Miracema, Severino de Belo Horizonte, a Maria Clara de Guaratuba, a Margarete do Guarujá, Patrícia de Vitória, Espírito Santo, a Aline de Irati, a Hilda de Concórdia, a Ludmila de Belém do Pará. Que maravilha! Gente, boa noite. Sejam todos muito bem-vindos. Meu nome é Gustavo Arnes, eu sou idealizador do Congresso Internacional de Felicidade. Estou aqui para dar as boas-vindas para todos vocês ao evento que nós estamos iniciando hoje, em parceria com o HeartMath, com a presença do nosso querido Howard Martin, que esteve aqui em Curitiba no último Congresso Internacional de Felicidade. E hoje nós estamos com a Carol, fazendo a tradução do evento. Carol, que é uma parceira já de longa data aqui do Congresso Internacional de Felicidade. Nós estamos com o Rafa cuidando de toda essa produção do evento aqui para nós. Eu tenho que agradecer a Simone Cabizuca pela ponte que ela fez com o Howard Martin, possibilitando o Howard estar conosco aqui no Congresso, e todo o trabalho para estar aqui conosco hoje. E ela vai estar junto com a Juliana Sé, no Questions and Answers, perguntas e respostas. Então, vocês têm um botãozinho aí embaixo da tela de vocês, escrito Q e A, onde vocês podem fazer as perguntas de vocês para o Howard. Vocês podem fazer as perguntas a qualquer momento. Elas vão estar coletando essas perguntas ao longo da noite, ao longo do evento, e o Howard, na medida do possível, no final da noite, vai responder as que forem possíveis dentro do nosso tempo. Além da Juliana e da Simone, nós estamos com a Roberta Moreira e com a Patrícia Lin interagindo com vocês no chat. Então, qualquer dúvida, qualquer dificuldade, vocês podem perguntar para elas. Vocês podem também fazer esse papo entre vocês, comentários sobre a palestra. Fiquem à vontade para vocês poderem interagir. E elas, como treinadoras certificadas pelo HeartMath Institute nos Estados Unidos, podem ajudar vocês já a responder algumas dúvidas. A equipe vai estar presente recepcionando vocês e, enfim, a todo momento para aquilo que vocês precisarem. Nós vamos ter a tradução simultânea durante o evento, feito pela Carol, como eu comentei. Tem um botãozinho aí na tela de vocês, escrito Interpretation. E ali vocês podem escolher a língua, se vocês querem ouvir o Howard no original inglês, ou se vocês vão querer ouvir a tradução simultânea feita pela Carol em português. Eu recomendo que vocês, além de selecionar a língua, vocês cliquem na caixinha ali embaixo onde diz Mute Original Audio. Mute Original Audio. E aí vocês vão ouvir apenas um dos sons, senão os dois vão estar ali juntos. E ao longo da noite você pode escolher também, se você de repente quiser treinar o seu inglês um pouquinho, ouvir inglês, depois voltar para o português, enfim, fica à vontade. Uma das possibilidades aí que a ferramenta nos fornece. Eu estou bastante feliz de estar aqui com o Howard hoje. Esse é um sonho que nós estamos realizando, desde que ele esteve conosco no Congresso em 2019, onde ele prometeu que voltaria, e nós estamos estudando as possibilidades de fazer isso, né? Estamos planejando um evento presencial para o ano passado, que não foi possível durante a pandemia, e aí nós conseguimos nos organizar para trazer para vocês o Howard no formato ao vivo, online, com a tradução simultânea, para que vocês possam acompanhar. Para quem não conhece, o Howard Martin, ele é palestrante, ele é autor de diversos livros sobre a inteligência do coração, vice-presidente executivo do HeartMath Institute nos Estados Unidos, que pesquisa o nosso coração e todas as suas funções para muito além dessa bomba cardíaca física que nós conhecemos, estudos realmente de ponta, trazendo as múltiplas funções do coração e como é que também o coração impacta na construção do nosso bem-estar, da nossa própria felicidade. Ele, pelo HeartMath, é membro do comitê diretor da iniciativa de coerência global, e ele vai contar um pouquinho disso tudo mais para vocês. Antes de passar a palavra para o Howard e nós podermos iniciar, eu quero trazer já mais uma grande notícia para vocês. Nós já combinamos com o Howard um retorno dele num novo workshop, com um pouco mais de aprofundamento, nos dias 10 e 12 de maio, das 19h30 às 21h30. Então, segunda e quarta-feira, e ele vai trazer para nós esse próximo ponto, né? Como nós podemos realmente ativar essa inteligência do nosso coração. Nós organizamos esse workshop em 1h30 com o Howard e depois mais 30 minutos de práticas que vão ser orientadas pelos treinadores certificados pelo HeartMath Institute nos Estados Unidos, os treinadores brasileiros, em grupos menores no Zoom, para que vocês possam interagir, tirar suas dúvidas, internalizar bem as práticas, também no formato online, ao vivo, com tradução simultânea, fica gravado para quem quiser assistir na sequência. Você vai poder interagir diretamente com o Howard, através das perguntas e respostas, e você vai poder interagir também diretamente com os treinadores certificados do Instituto. Nós estamos com um valor bem especial de desconto nas inscrições. O pessoal da equipe vai passar o link para vocês, onde vocês podem ver todas as informações. Eu não quero ficar me alongando muito tempo aqui, mas no site vocês encontram todas as informações e nós temos um valor de desconto especial para vocês que estão participando aqui do nosso evento, para as inscrições até amanhã, usando o cupom de desconto WORKSHOP. Basta você digitar WORKSHOP no momento da sua inscrição, onde tem ali um espaço para você inserir esse cupom, e aí você vai ter mais 20% de desconto. Esse é um desconto especial realmente para vocês que estão nos acompanhando na noite aqui de hoje, e com mais um bônus incrível, né? Um presente dos treinadores. Os primeiros 30 inscritos vão ganhar uma sessão de atendimento individual com um treinador brasileiro certificado pelo HeartMath. Então, nós vamos nesse workshop junto com o Howard ativar a inteligência do coração, ter uma compreensão mais profunda sobre o momento que nós atravessamos, como é que a inteligência do coração, através dessa compreensão científica, pode nos ajudar a atravessar esse momento desafiador, trazendo a ideia da coerência do coração, esse estado de consciência, saúde e melhor desempenho para que a gente possa navegar pelas nossas atividades diárias e muito mais. Recomendo vocês darem uma olhada pelo link ali no site e vocês ficarem por dentro de tudo que nós estamos programando. Uma última palavra nesse momento, antes de entregar para o Howard. O Instituto HeartMath faz um trabalho incrível, onde nós exploramos essas nossas potências e forças internas a partir da ciência do coração, e onde nós podemos reverberar isso pelo nosso ambiente familiar, nosso ambiente social, o nosso trabalho, a nossa comunidade. Nesse momento que nós estamos enfrentando a pandemia com tão severas restrições, o cuidado conosco, ele é fundamental. Cuidar do nosso bem-estar é cuidar da nossa saúde física, da nossa saúde mental, da nossa saúde emocional. No dia 20 de março, agora no final de semana que passou, nós comemoramos o Dia Internacional da Felicidade, criado pela ONU, onde foi publicado o Relatório Global de Felicidade, mensurando o nível de bem-estar e felicidade dentro dos países. Nós tivemos um declínio global em torno do bem-estar devido à pandemia, e nós tivemos pela primeira vez um novo dado primário publicado, com uma pesquisa feita apenas em alguns países no ano passado. E nós pudemos perceber o quanto as ações governamentais têm a capacidade de elevar a moral da população e com isso, reduzir os danos mentais e emocionais que a pandemia tem causado, mas, sobretudo, os laços sociais e o quão importantes eles são para que a gente possa atravessar bem esse período. Então, o convite a todos vocês é que vocês possam realmente se conectar num estado de presença de qualidade nesse momento, para absorver todo esse conhecimento científico de ponta que o Howard vai trazer para nós aqui hoje, com a certeza de que ao cuidarmos de nós mesmos, nós estamos cuidando também do outro. E nunca foi tão importante se cuidar como no momento atual, cuidar das nossas relações sociais, das nossas amizades, dos nossos familiares, da nossa saúde, nos protegermos, enfim, para conseguirmos não apenas atravessar a pandemia, mas também encontrarmos o que existe de positivo nesse momento, ativarmos as nossas forças da resiliência, ativarmos as nossas potências internas através do poder do coração para lidarmos com essa situação. Então, agradeço de coração o carinho de todos vocês que estão aqui conosco hoje, nos acompanhando, desejando um bom evento para todos nós, e assim eu passo a palavra para o nosso querido Howard Martin. Está com você.
Microphone's on now. Hello, everybody in Brazil. Good evening to each and every one of you. So glad that you are able to be here and to join us tonight. I want to thank Gustavo and Simone and his team for the great introduction and for bringing me to this event. And I also want to re-acknowledge the Heart Math coaches and trainers. There are our representatives in your country, and some of them are here with us tonight to assist and to answer questions and to do a very special session with you after I finish talking. So much appreciation to all of you. As Gustavo mentioned, I was in Brazil at the World Happiness Congress in late 2019, and it was a great experience. I was very moved by the people of Brazil and of the country. And when I got to the end of my presentation, I made a commitment to that audience of several thousand people that I would come back and that we would go more in depth into an exploration of heart math. Of course, you know, just a few months later, the world that we all lived in was a very different world than it was in late 2019. And everything changed. And the goal, the hope, the dream is for me to be able to come back in the not too distant future and to be with you in person. But in the meantime, we have this wonderful technology that we can use to connect heart to heart in this way. So here's what I'm going to do this evening. This evening, I'm going to, first of all, you know, do everything I can to share my heart with yours. Many of you may not be familiar with Heart Math's work, so I'm going to share a little bit about what we do and a little bit of the science behind Heart Math. And then I'm going to go into how would we apply some of these understandings to deal with the challenges that we're all facing today. We're going to do an exercise, and we're also going to then do some questions and answers. I'll have time to visit with you before we end our program this evening. So with that said, I'd like JJ, who's assisting me here tonight, to bring up my PowerPoint. I'm going to be little screen for a while I talk, and the PowerPoint will be full screen for all of you. She's going to share my screen now. There we go. So we're going to deal with looking at how to deal with this unprecedented era of high-speed change that we're all involved in right now. It's a unique time in human history where there's never been as much change as there is happening today ever in the history of humankind. More change happening in less time than ever before. As a result, we often experience a lot of chaos, and that's easy to see. All the challenges are on full display right now, our personal challenges, our societal challenges, our global challenges. We have pandemics, we have natural disaster, we have a climate change, we have financial crisis, we have terrorism, we have war, we have all of these challenges that face us as a global society. And that's happening faster and faster and faster. At the same time, something else is going on. Something else is emerging. A new world is emerging right in the midst of the old one. It's a new and much better world. It's hard to see sometimes, but it's there when you look, because the same energetic forces that are driving the chaos are also giving us the greatest opportunity we've ever had before to learn, to grow, and to change. Now, the very fabric of consciousness itself is changing as we go through this. I mean, it's the information that we draw from in this vast field of information that we turn into our reality is changing and morphing. And one of the major changes that's happening is new intelligence is emerging. New ways of thinking, new ways of perceiving, new ways of interacting. That's all happening right now. And a lot of that is what we call heart-based consciousness or heart intelligence. That is the new intelligence. The mind intelligence will always be there. It's a part of who we are. It's important, it's essential. But the same logical linear intelligence that we've used for a long time to solve our problems does not seem to work very well anymore. The challenges are bigger than our logic can figure out. So we need a different kind of intelligence to use to navigate these changing times. And the good news is, it's here. It's right here inside yourself, in the core of you. It's in your heart. And we call it heart intelligence. Now, my life's work and the work of my colleagues here at HeartMath has been an exploration of heart for our whole lives, our whole adult lives. To take a look at this part of ourselves that's been called heart for thousands of years, to explore it, to try to understand it better, and then to apply it in daily living where it's needed the most. And that's what I've been doing now for a very long time, formally here at HeartMath for 30 years. For those that don't know, HeartMath is based in Northern California in the United States. It's a system of tools, techniques, methods, and technology, all underpinned with scientific research. Now, we deploy the system worldwide through a variety of ways, through the technology that we develop and sell, through training programs in all aspects of society. We are what I call a big little organization. We're about 100 employees, and we have a huge global footprint where we have, I can proudly say, we've touched the lives of many millions of people in meaningful ways. And what's exciting to me about HeartMath and about my life and about this adventure and exploration of the heart is that it's not stopping. There's no ceiling. The adventure continues. The unfoldment continues. HeartMath continues to grow, continues to reach more people. I change, I grow. And as a result, it feels like an adventure. And life doesn't feel often to be so challenging. It more feels like an opportunity for me to seize. Now, of course, all these years, I've learned a few things about what I call heart or heart intelligence. And here's just a few of them that you see on the screen now. Your heart is really the core of who you are. It's your true authentic self, the core of your true being. It's beyond your personality, beyond your assumed self. It's really deeper than that. It's at the core of who you are. And when we're in touch with that part of ourselves, if you think about your own life, I'm sure you would see this. When you're in touch with that part of yourself, that's when you have greater discernment capacity. You can see into things more clearly. You can make better choices and decisions. All of that comes from making contact with heart, with that core of your true authentic self. It is that place where we connect with each other. When we have these heart-to-heart connections with one another, that is the richest type of communication and connection that we ever have. And we all experience it at times when we have just a moment in time with someone where we feel that resonance, we feel that connection. We may not know anything about them, but we feel something. That's heart talking to heart. I experience it a lot when I travel internationally, which hasn't been in a while. But when I used to travel internationally, I could be in a country that didn't speak much English. Brazil would be a good example. And very often I would be trying to communicate with someone. They didn't speak my language. I didn't speak theirs. But through our eyes and through our connections and through our smiles, we'd have these meaningful ways of communicating. That's heart-to-heart communication. Now, yes.
This is Gustavo. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm just checking that there is a lot of people in the attendees room having a bit of trouble with the interpretation. So I'll ask Rafael to bring again our slide, and I'll talk in Portuguese to everyone just to help them out, okay?
Okay. I will go a little slower to help Carolina.
Okay. You're doing, it's going
Okay.
good. Olá, pessoal. Eu estou acompanhando aqui no chat algumas dificuldades em ativar a tradução. Então, se você estiver no celular, dependendo do sistema operacional, isso pode funcionar de maneira diferente. Apesar de nós termos feito testes tanto no celular quanto no computador, marca e modelo podem influenciar. Então, vocês têm embaixo na sua tela um ícone que é uma bolinha com alguns riscos dentro, escrito Interpretation, e esse ícone vai te permitir escolher entre o inglês e o português. Então, você pode clicar no inglês ou você pode clicar no português. Embaixo tem mais um quadrinho escrito Mute Original Audio, que é onde você pode colocar no mute o áudio original e ouvir apenas o inglês ou apenas o português. Eu estou vendo também que para bastante gente está funcionando e para algumas pessoas não está. Se não estiver funcionando para você, você pode tentar se desconectar e conectar novamente, ou você pode tentar conectar de um computador, onde deve ficar mais fácil essa logística e essa dinâmica. Eu sei que dependendo da versão, às vezes do aplicativo, inclusive pode aparecer algum outro nome ali no botão Interpretation, que é onde está essa possibilidade de escolha. Tá certo, pessoal? E aí, na medida do possível, a gente auxilia vocês pelo chat a partir de agora, porque esse não é um problema técnico que está do nosso lado, esse é um problema que está se refletindo para alguns de vocês por conta do celular ou da versão que vocês estão explorando do aplicativo. Obrigado, gente. Thank you, Howard, for your patience.
Sure.
You can
Well, I hope everybody gets that worked out so they can feel like they're connecting in our program this evening.
Hopefully.
So to continue, let me just say a few more things about what heart intelligence is.
And Howard, just one more thing. You need to share again your screen if you wanna put your slides. And when you share it, you need to click to put it on full presentation, and then we can see just the one slide you're talking about and not the whole presentation, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a little technical problem here. JJ is going to fix us up here. Hold on just 1 second. Okay, JJ, working now. Okay. 1 second, my friends. So while JJ is getting the PowerPoint fixed, let me just say this. It's a moment like this when heart comes in really handy. When things don't necessarily go the way that we want them to. It's that place inside we can go to where we can make peace with that. We can make like it's okay. We can find a flow with it. We don't have to worry about it so much. And as we do, then we can save a lot of energy that way, a lot of stress, because life is going to have challenges. It's going to have unexpected events that take place from time to time. And that's all part of life. And it's a part of a time like right in this moment right now when we are experiencing a little bit of technical difficulty. But let me go ahead and say this about heart. It's really the birthplace and the source of so many of these emotional qualities that have been talked about for thousands of years. Some of the emotional qualities that are the most meaningful and most beneficial. And they would be emotional qualities like more love, more care, more kindness, more compassion, more understanding, less judgment. Those kind of qualities are born from the heart's intelligence. Gustavo, is everyone seeing the full PowerPoint now?
Actually, we can see it, but it's still on presentation mode. So I can see the one you're talking about and the next one right on the side.
I see. Yeah.
If you want to, we can put it from here, and then you can just show us when it's time to change.
In other words, he's saying you want them to.
Okay, if you want to pull it up on your side, you can do that, and then I can just say next slide, right?
Or Rafa is saying that we can give you the control, a remote control of it. So let's try it. Rafa, please share your screen and let's see how it goes.
You want me to share it?
Yeah,
Okay.
share it.
Yep. And here's the PowerPoint.
Okay.
It's awesome now.
Okay, so let me try it again.
So one thing I'll say while we're waiting again for some technical changes is that I guess after all these years, I've learned that life works best for me when I'm living it more from the heart. That it allows me to experience more peace in my life and more joy and more fulfillment. Those are all things that happen when I'm connected to my heart, because really I've learned that my heart is my own best friend. It's really the most reliable guide I really have for navigating life and making decisions big and small. I see a slide. I don't know if it's their slide or our slide.
Their slide. I'm not doing anything.
Do you see, are you controlling your slides now, Gustavo?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
I can see it, and you can use the arrows to change it.
I can use the arrows. Okay, next slide, please. Let me talk a little bit about some heart science. Okay, no changes are happening. Okay, I'm not seeing a slide change.
So we're going to change it for you.
Ah, fantastic. Go to the next slide when you can.
Yes.
So while we're waiting for the slide, let me explain what I'm going to share with you. One of the things we did at HeartMath when we began 30 years ago is we recognized we needed to build a really good bridge between the philosophical understanding of heart and what heart can mean in practical life, daily living. We chose science to be that bridge because in our society today, science is important. Science carries a lot of respect. And when science proves something to be true, it increases the power of belief because science has shown that it's real. So we just chose science to be the bridge we would use between the philosophical heart and the day-to-day heart. So at HeartMath today, we've done lots of scientific research. There are over 400 peer-reviewed research papers that have been done on HeartMath. In addition, there's over 10,000 sightings in literature, research literature about HeartMath. And that's given us a lot of credibility and the ability to share understandings of heart in very conservative societal sectors, places like the military and the police and the fire and educational institutions. All of that has been enhanced by us having a lot of science. So what I'm going to do now is share just a little bit of HeartMath science with you. So go to the slide that says heart-brain communication, if you would. I'm not seeing the slides change on my screen here. I'll just trust that they're there. So let me tell you a little story about your physical heart that you may not know. We know for sure, and Gustavo referred to it, we know the heart pumps blood. That's what it does. It's a cardiovascular organ pumping blood throughout your entire body, and it does it from the time you're born to the time you die. We all know that. But what you may not know is that the heart does a lot more. It's actually a very important information processing center in the body. The heart is sending information from your heart to your brain and to your entire system. And the information that it sends is really important. The body is dependent upon information it is receiving from the heart. And it does it in 4 ways. And I'll briefly describe those 4 ways to you now. For starters, it communicates neurologically. Your heart has a very complex nervous system. Next to the brain, it's the most complex part of the nervous system that you have. And it's actually studied through a scientific field, a medical field, called neurocardiology. That studies the nervous system in the heart. This nervous system sends information up into your brain through a nerve pathway that starts in your heart and goes all the way into the highest perceptual centers of your brain. It's called the neocortex. So you have this conversation going on. The brain sends information down to the heart, but the heart also sends information back to the brain. And you have this neurological conversation always happening between the heart and the brain and the rest of the body. That's your first way. The second way is through what's called a biophysical communication. If you place your finger on your wrist, you feel your pulse. The pulse is a wave of energy created by the squeezing of the heart muscle. It pushes the blood through the veins and the arteries. That blood pressure wave changes all the time depending upon how the heart is beating. And those blood pressure wave changes affect your body. For example, the electrical activity in your brain is actually synchronized to changes taking place in the blood pressure wave. The third way is biochemical. Your heart produces hormones. Most people don't know that, but the heart produces several very important hormones. For example, one of those is called atrial peptide. Atrial peptide has an interesting job. It reduces the release of the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol is produced when we're in high stress. The hormone produced in the heart helps to regulate that cortisol. The heart also produces another hormone called oxytocin. You may have heard of that. It's sometimes called the love hormone. It's produced in greater amounts when we're in a loving state, like a mother with a young baby, for example. And that's a very regenerative hormone. And a lot of oxytocin is produced by the heart. And those are your first three ways. The fourth way is where it gets really interesting to me. It's an energetic communication. Your heart is actually an electrical organ. It produces a lot of electricity. When you go to a doctor and the doctor does your electrocardiogram, what they're measuring is the electrical signal being produced by your heart. Now, I want you to go to the next slide, if you would. The heart produces enough electricity that creates a magnetic field that surrounds your body in 360 degrees. 360 degrees surrounding your body, a magnetic field. This field extends beyond the skin out into space about 1 meter. So it goes from heart out into space about 1 meter. And this is a very conservative measurement. It's measured with something called magnetometers. They measure magnetic fields, very conservative equipment. Can detect that field about 1 meter outside your body. It gets even more interesting. That field changes depending upon what we are feeling. If we're feeling angry, for example, or frustrated, it produces a very chaotic field. Conversely, if we're experiencing love or care or kindness or compassion, those type of heart-based emotional qualities, the field changes. Now it becomes very ordered. It becomes what's called a coherent field. So we are literally broadcasting our emotions through the field of the heart. We pick that up from each other. We sense that in each other. We can tell when somebody is frustrated, for example. We can tell when somebody is caring or appreciative. We feel it because we sense these magnetic fields. And the heart produces by far the largest magnetic field that our body produces. JJ, if you would, stop sharing my screen and maybe I'll see their screen. Okay, so we have this magnetic field communicating out into space, and that's a beautiful thing that we have. And I think that it's important to recognize that we are connecting energetically with each other and with all living systems through these fields. Now, in the workshop that I'm going to do in May, we're going to go deeper into that kind of understanding. We're going to explore the energetic connections between all living systems and how heart plays a role in that. So these are things I'm touching on tonight. I'm touching on a little bit of science. I'm touching on things like energetic connectivity. But when we get together at the workshop in May, we're going to go more into that type of subject matter. So next slide, if you would. Now, when all of this heart-brain-body communication comes together, we enter a state called coherence. Coherence is a highly ordered state. It's very efficient. When we are more coherent, all the body's major systems are synchronized. Digestion, respiration, hormonal response, immune system response, all of that stuff is synchronized. So it's a high performance state. It's good for our health. It's a state where we're very aware. It is calm, it is balanced, but it's also highly acutely aware. And that's what coherence is like. Now, coherence is often triggered when we're feeling a regenerative, uplifting emotion. When we're feeling appreciation or care, compassion, love, those kind of emotions, we become more coherent. And that coherent state makes us smarter. It makes us more connected with ourselves and with each other. I'm still not seeing any changes on the screen here. Okay, so
They're doing it. I have no.
okay, if you stop changing my screen. Okay,
Yeah, you're stopped.
great. So that's what coherence is like. And a lot of the heart math techniques and practices are designed to increase coherence. That's what we do with athletes, Olympians, and professional athletes. That's what we do with business leaders. That's what we do in places I mentioned earlier, like the military and educational systems. We do training around helping people to increase their coherence level, which brings in more of that heart intelligence and the qualities associated with the heart. Now, next slide, please. Coherence can be measured. You measure it by looking at changes in what I'll generically call our heart rhythms. Heart rhythms. There's a medical term for it called heart rate variability analysis. And on the screen, you're seeing a couple of different heart rhythm patterns. You see one on one side that is very jagged and irregular. This is a heart rhythm pattern of someone who's experiencing frustration or anger, that type of what we'll call a negative emotion. They're upset. They're feeling a strong negative emotion. And when that happens, the heart rhythms become very, very chaotic. It's not good for you. It's not good for your physical heart. It's not good for your nervous system. It triggers the release of hormones into your body that you don't want too many of, like too much adrenaline or too much cortisol. All that happens when you have this type of incoherent heart rhythm happening in the body. Now, the other graph, you see this wave-like pattern. It's smooth and it's ordered. The heart is speeding up and slowing down in a very natural, synchronized way. And that is what coherence looks like when you measure it. That pattern you see that looks like a wave is high coherence. In the high coherence state, you are operating a very efficient level. You're operating smarter. Your reaction speed times improve. Your visual field improves. You have access to the emotional qualities that you want more of. You become more appreciative. You become more caring. All that happens when you begin to increase your own coherence levels. So again, a lot of our training is about how do you increase coherence? Next slide. Once we have the scientific research understood, we developed technology that anybody can use to measure that. And there are a couple of different versions. The most popular one is called the Inner Balance Trainer. It's an app you can download from your favorite app store. You get a sensor that you attach to your ear. It measures your coherence, and it has training tools in the app, guides we call them, that train you how to become more coherent. The one that works on computers is for professionals. Lots of health professionals, for example, use this version of it. It's called M-Wave Pro. So we developed technology to help people, just like you, how to become more coherent. And the coaches and trainers that you'll be having access to at the end of the program, they know all about this, and they have the technology, and they can probably offer you experiences of it. But they're just training tools to help you make connection with your own heart at a deeper level. Now, what I've done so far is I've talked a little bit about sort of the philosophical side of heart, about the qualities of the heart, about an intelligent heart. And I've been able to share in the time we have together tonight just a little bit of science. There's a lot more science that I'll be able to share with you in the future. But hopefully from the science, you get an understanding that what's been said about the heart for thousands of years is real. Science is now proving it to be true, that the heart is more than a blood pump. It's a source of something very, very special that we all have as human beings. And science is now beginning to support that. And we'll explore that more in the future. So if you would go to the next slide, please, I would appreciate it. Let me shift now. I've talked a little bit about heart math and about heart science, but why would that even be important? I mean, what's the big deal? How would heart play a role in your life today? Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're in a period of accelerated change, rapid change. We are really going through an awful lot as individually and as a global society right now. And I'll use the pandemic as an example. There are more challenges, of course, and more that we all deal with. But I'll use the pandemic as my example. you know, we were living a life one way, and then all of a sudden it changed. And we were told that we were threatened by something, and we had to stay away from each other, and we had to go into lockdown. And that affected our lives, it affected our relationships, it affected our ability to interact with others. It affected commerce and business. Jobs changed, industries were lost. The way in which we function quickly changed, and we had to try to adapt to that. How do we make sense of that? How do we make peace with that? This is not easy to do. And what was really unique about the pandemic is it wasn't isolated to one area or one region. Like, let's say sometimes you'll have a natural disaster that's hard on people. And we experienced one here in Northern California last summer. We went through the major forest fires that almost destroyed everything that I'm sitting in right now, and also almost destroyed our whole town. So there are other kinds. But what was unique about COVID is that the whole planet was experiencing it. Everybody in the world was being faced with the same challenge. Now, that's been hard, but it's also created new opportunities. We've all been through a very similar shared experience together, and it's opened our hearts. In the midst of the chaos and confusion and all the problems it's created, it's brought us together more. But we still have more to do. And if you go to the next slide, please. Many people, maybe you as well, even those that have practiced various spiritual growth, practices of different kinds and done a lot of inner work on themselves, everybody literally can feel kind of stressed these days, and certainly feel uncertain about where this is going. They can feel anxious, you can feel sad, you can feel depressed, you can feel like worn out and away from the pandemic and the many other challenges. And if you feel that way, it's okay. I offer my heart to yours and with compassion and say, yeah, we've all been through some of that. And it's okay. Nothing's wrong. And you've done, I'm sure, the best you can with all that. But it's been one of those times when it's pushed us to go deeper, and we have to go deeper as a result of that. Now, one of the things a lot of people are experiencing is anxiousness because of the uncertainty. We don't know when COVID's going to end. We don't know what else is going to happen in our future. We don't know what the world is going to be like when COVID has ended, what the new normal is even going to be. These are still questions that we all have, and that uncertainty can be gnawing at us. It can create that angst and that anxiety in our system. So I'm going to share some things now to help us deal with that. Hopefully you'll gain something from this that you can carry forward past our evening together tonight, that you can use in your life to help make it a bit easier as we go through this period of uncertainty. Next slide, please. I want to introduce a concept to you called intelligent or managed concern. Intelligent concern is just this more objective place we can get to. It's a less stressful attitude about change, and it allows for being aware of new possibilities from the effects of change, but without so much of the angst and the drama. In other words, there's things we need to be concerned about. We shouldn't ignore them. But it's the extra energy that we add where we create these projections in this drama. And a lot of the projections we create are like worst case scenarios or dim outcomes, about things. And when we find this place in our hearts where we can call intelligent or managed concern, we can have the same concerns, but without so much drama and significance. I'll give you an example. Let's say we hear on the news that there are thunderstorms coming and they could spark tornadoes. So yeah, we need to pay attention to that. We need to pay attention to the news and see what the weather is going to do and see if there's tornadoes in our area. But just because we heard the news report doesn't mean that there's going to be a tornado. It doesn't mean we suddenly have to run to the basement of our house and lock ourselves in because of a possibility. So from an intelligent or managed concern place, we observe it, but we don't add the extra significance and drama to it. And if you can remember that one concept as you deal with whatever challenges you're dealing with in life, and try to come back to that place, it's an easier, softer place. You'll find it in your heart. or you can find this place inside where you can approach things from more of a position of intelligent concern. Now, I'm going to share something important with you that can help with that. It's a feeling that you have inside. I'll even call it a vibration or a frequency that you have inside called inner ease. A feeling of inner ease. Inner ease is a state that helps to smooth things out. If you go to the next slide, you'll see on the screen what it has to say about it. It's a place inside where it sort of takes the edges off of life. It makes things flow a lot better. It's a soft state, but it's not just taking it easy. It's highly aware, but it has a smoothness to it. It has a quality that makes it easier for you to deal with things from this state of inner ease. And inner ease can help you have more intelligent concern rather than drama and significance. It offers us a door for practical solutions. You can think about it like it's an active calm. It's calm, but it's also active. But it's got that calmness in it. It's when your mental and emotional energies are composed, but you're still ready to take action when you need to. But you're composed, and it's like this active, calm place that you find inside. And this is an especially important vibration or feeling to try to find when you're dealing with the uncertainty and change that we're going through today. So think about inner ease like a radio station on the radio dial. You can learn to tune into this frequency, just like you tune your radio to a certain channel. You can learn how to find this place of inner ease inside yourself. It does take practice. When I began to explore inner ease, I knew there was something there, but it was a little difficult to find it. But I also had a feeling in my own heart, my own intuition saying, this is worth exploring. There's something here. This is not just taking it easy. It's not just relaxing. It's not ignoring anything. It's something more powerful than that. And I'll find it if I practice and if I use my heart to be my guide about that. And so what I want to do now with all of us together, and by the way, there are a lot of people here together on this call tonight. I'm so pleased with the response that we've had for this particular program. And I want to thank you for your time and attention, for being here and for putting up with some technical difficulties as well. So I want to thank you for that going into the inner ease technique. But I want to share this technique with you right now. And we'll do this together. And we'll have a collective shared experience. And that will also include the people who are going to watch this later. So if you're watching this later, just know that we were thinking about you. All of us that were together in the live event. So you can also share energetically in the same experience. If you want to close your eyes, you can. And I'll lead you through the technique. We'll take about 5 minutes to do this now. The first thing I'd like you to do is to focus your attention in the area of the heart. And if you can change slides, that would be fine. So you just feel your energy shift to the center of your chest, right to the area of your heart. And with your attention there, I want you to imagine that your breath is flowing in and out through your heart or chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. So just imagine as you breathe in, you feel your breath coming in through the area in the center of your chest, your heart, and then breathe it back out. And we'll do this for a few breaths together right now. Now I want you to keep breathing this way. Try to tune into the radio station of inner ease, a feeling inside called inner ease. And with each breath, just draw on that feeling of inner ease to help balance your mental and emotional energy. We'll do it together now. As I breathe in, I'm drawing in now a feeling of inner ease. Casual, gentle, soft process. If your mind wanders, it's okay. Just gently and softly try to breathe in that feeling of inner ease. Now, from your heart, from that core of yourself, I want you to set a meaningful intent to anchor in that feeling, make it solid. Anchor in the feeling of inner ease. And then use that feeling as you engage in whatever projects you have, whatever challenges that may come up, all your daily interactions. A meaningful intent to carry it forward. You can carry that feeling of inner ease forward into the rest of our program together tonight. Just hold that feeling deep inside your heart. Okay, thank you very much. Quick review for you. Inner ease is like a highly active state, active calm. It's calm, but it's active. It's a very aware state, but it's soft, it's gentle. It's making things flow more in your life. It's there. It's there for you. You just have to tune to it, just like you were tuning a radio. Tune to that feeling of inner ease. And as you tune to the feeling of inner ease, you breathe it in through the area of the heart. You focus your attention right here in the center of your chest. And then you draw in that feeling of inner ease. You sort of breathe it through your body. You can do this with your eyes open or your eyes closed. But you just breathe that feeling of inner ease. And once you sort of catch it as best you can, and it's okay if you don't feel anything, but just take what you get and then set that meaningful intent to say, okay, I'm going to anchor this in. I'm going to make this real. I'm going to carry that feeling of inner ease forward into the challenges of the day. Now, inner ease is great to practice because it creates flow in what I'll call non-flowing situations. For example, we started our presentation, we had to stop. There were some translation issues. We brought it back up, but the PowerPoint was not displaying on your screens like it is on our screens. And so we had to stop again. So these are times when things don't seem to be flowing. Well, find that place of ease inside yourself. Create a flow within that. That's when the flow comes back. And once we got that worked out, things have been flowing very nicely. I'll tell you one funny story about non-flowing situations about this event tonight. We set up, everything's working perfectly. We talked to Gustavo and the team and everything, and they said, okay, come back in 15 minutes, we'll start. So JJ and I go outside and we close the door to this room where we created our studio here. We closed the door, and when we came back, the door was locked and neither one of us had a key. So we could hear the music going on and hear the program getting ready to start, but we couldn't get in the room. So we had to run over to the other part of our building, get a staff member to find the key and come over here and unlock the door. And we got here just in time for me to put on the microphone and for the introduction to start. And that was a perfect example of an unusual situation where I know that there's been over 1,000 people registered for this program, and JJ and I are locked out of the place where we need to be to actually come in here and talk. So these are all things that happen in life, and we have to find a flow with it. We have to make humor of these things, Otherwise, life just gets to be too serious and too heavy, and we get too dragged down. And one of the core aspects that we need in any of these situations and in life itself, and I'd like you to pull the slide up on it that says this, it says patience. We all need to find a little more patience, I think. We have a founder here at HeartMath. His name is Doc Childry. He writes a lot of the books and HeartMath materials. And one of the things he said I've always loved is he said, the patience is the art of intelligent waiting. Patience is when you begin to let things unfold in the proper pace and flow that they're supposed to. Impatient comes when things aren't flowing fast enough for us, when things aren't working out the way we want them to. And impatience drains a lot of energy. And it's so simple. We all know these things. We all have heard about patience our whole life. Now it's time to apply it at a new level. We need to be patient with the process of the changes we're going through. I'll go back again to the COVID pandemic. We all want it to end. And I've had moments in time when I felt impatient and frustrated. When I was going, I've been here in my little town now for 5 months. I haven't been anywhere. I used to travel the world. I was a 100,000 mile a year flyer. And I've been here for over a year now, and I can feel that tension. I can feel that wanting it to be over feeling. And when I found myself there, I realized that that's not efficient. That's not helping me. It's not helping the situation, and that it's time for me to activate more patience in my own system. Let things unfold at the proper pace. Let change happen as it will. Have our intentions, have our hopes, have our dreams, and then let it go and let the process unfold and find that place of patience in ourselves. So one of the things you can do is if you find yourself impatient, and I do this all the time, and I'm sometimes a very impatient person, to be honest with you. I always want things to sort of move faster than they're moving. So when I find myself there, I just acknowledge it. I recognize, wait a minute, Howard, you're feeling impatience right now. And I'm honest with myself about it. It's okay. And I pause what I'm doing, and I focus in my heart, and I breathe in the attitude of ease that we practiced earlier. I breathe in the feeling of ease. And when I find that feeling, I sort of shift it into, now I'm going to breathe the feeling of patience. And there's a slide that's got these 3 steps on it. Now I'm going to go inside and I'm going to breathe in the feeling of patience. And I breathe it until I feel more patient. And I start to regain my sort of inner poise, energetic poise. And I breathe this feeling a while longer, again, to make it real, to make it solid. The term we use at HeartMath is anchor it in. And I don't know how that translates into Portuguese, but we anchor that feeling in. So basically, first step is I acknowledge that I am feeling impatient. I don't judge myself for it. I just acknowledge that I'm experiencing it. I focus in the heart and I start breathing in the feeling of ease. And then I shift that feeling into a feeling of patience. And I breathe that feeling of patience in and out until I begin to feel more patient about the situation. Then I set that meaningful intent to say, okay, let me take this feeling forward. Don't go back to the same feelings of frustration or irritation that I was experiencing. Go back and find that feeling of patience inside again. Next slide, please. I'll read this one because it's a powerful statement. As we commit to replacing impatience with inner ease and patience, our responses to change will play out with more balance, resilience, and clearer discernment. Be patient with the process. There's an important line there. Be patient with the process. Things will resolve, things will change, things will be better in right timing. So next slide. So yeah, we all know the world is highly stressed right now, but let me go back and talk about something I began to talk a little bit about earlier in the program. There's something else going on. There is a heart momentum going on. And one of the characteristics of it, and one of the byproducts of, let's say, COVID, is that people are realizing they need to get along with each other better. They need to demonstrate more compassion and cooperation. And that's what's going to create the positive change. One of the major lessons that I think we're learning individually and collectively is we need to learn to get along better. What does that mean? That means we have to drop some of the judgments about each other's differences. We have to drop some of the separation that we create. We have to learn to be more accepting and more open, more neutral about people, to allow people to live their lives like they want to. Allow people to have their own belief systems and not to be so harsh on them for that. Those are the characteristics of learning to get along. And I think we are learning to get along better. Yeah, of course, I see the polarization. I see the political dramas and all the major issues that we have here in the United States. I see all that, but I also see a lot of people longing for connection, longing to work together. And I see people that are working together for a shared goal of creating a world with less suffering, a world with more harmony, a world with more fulfillment. And I see that unfolding. So yeah, problematic times, but I see a new world emerging right in the midst of the one we have today, a new and better world that's happening. I truly believe it's happening. And I see it. I see it in people. I see people learning and growing and changing. I see millions of people around the world who are making a difference in the way this world works, who have changed their beliefs, who've changed their lives in some way. And I think it's a beautiful thing to observe. So the next slide, please. So I believe that the next key to us overcoming our challenges and to ushering in this new world is a cooperation between heart and mind, between people and systems and cultures and the world. That's what will lead to greater individual and collective coherence, well-being, and happiness. And it all starts with the cooperation between heart and mind, and then how we treat each other, leading to that connection and that cooperation between people and our cultures and the world. Next slide, please. So we're in a position right now, well, let me just say this. It's a time now to create, don't wait. Try to find that resilience in yourself. If you've struggled, it's okay. We all have. Find something else inside. Reboot your system. Find that resilience that you have inside yourself and use this time period to create something new. Don't wait. Don't wait for the world to straighten itself out. Go ahead and take your own steps now and create what you want to create in your life. So create and don't wait. And through the power of your heart and the heart's intelligence, you can do that. We all can. And we all in our own ways already are doing it. Just acknowledge that more for yourself and recognize that, you know, deep down, I'm sure you're a good person and you're doing the very best you can, you know, amidst a lot of change and a lot of challenges that you may be facing. And acknowledge yourself for that. Give yourself that gift of acknowledgement. Don't judge yourself. Find compassion for yourself. And then use that beautiful, magnificent part of yourself called heart to create and not wait, and to take the next step forward in your life that you can take. So I'm going to take questions and answers now in just a few minutes. A couple things that I want to say and about some next steps for you. And these are not things that I'm trying to sell. These are things that I want you to know about because I don't want this 1 hour or hour and a half together to be the end of anything. I promised when I was on a stage at the Happiness Congress that I would be back. And I said to the audience, I don't want this to be the end of anything. This has to be the beginning of a relationship between you and I, between Heart Math and Brazil. And I want to continue that relationship. And I promised to come back. And there was a lot of applause when I said that. I knew people wanted that. And so we're doing the best we can now with this type of presentation. But I am coming back in the future. In the meantime, here's some things you may want to do. Next slide. It says, first of all, you can watch something called the Heart Math Experience. You can go to the heartmath.com website. Look for the Heart Math Experience. You can you don't download it, but you get access to it on a learning management system for free. It's beautiful. It's a 6-module, hour-and-a-half long learning experience broken into those 6 modules. It teaches you heart math tools and techniques. It gives you an experience of your heart. It talks about social coherence and global coherence. And it's got a translator built into it. You can choose your language. And Portuguese is one of the languages it's translated into. So you can go right there, get the heart math experience for free, enjoy it. It looks like you're watching a movie, but it's all about heart and it's teaching you as you watch it. So it's a beautiful experience, and you can get that at no charge at all by going to heartmath.com, searching for the Heart Math Experience, putting your name and your email address in, and there you go, and you've got the Heart Math Experience for life. You can do that, and that's a gift I have for you. You can also consider getting an inner balance trainer sensor in the app, and you do have to buy the sensor. But that's a great way to train yourself to become more coherent. That's something you can do. And lastly, you can find one of the HeartMath certified coaches or trainers. We have them in Brazil. They are on our call tonight, some of them. To do that, you go again to heartmath.com and you click on Find a Coach. There you'll find a directory, and you can put in like a search term like Brazil or something, and you'll find all the coaches and trainers that are in Brazil, and you can send them a message that they'll respond to. So if you'd like to know more, if you'd like to get coached, if you'd like extra help with your life, these people are beautiful souls that have been trained in HeartMath. They're dedicated, highly professional people, and they're there to assist and to help. They're an important part of how we expand globally around the world is by having HeartMath coaches and trainers, and we have them all over the world. And there's a great group that I got to be with some when I was there that operate in Brazil. So check them out by going to heartmath.com and to the HeartMath directory. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to bring me back up full screen and let me open things up now for some comments and questions. I don't even realize what time it is. It's only 8:05 your time. We can go another 15 or 20 minutes if you'd like. If there are questions or comments, let's visit a little bit. Yeah, I don't know.
Muito bem,
And by the way, this screen is not doing a thing for me. It's like it's just been stuck on the same slide since we changed it. Yeah.
Nós estamos recebendo aqui muitos comentários, Howard, das pessoas mandando um feedback incrível.
Yes, I can hear you.
Tanto pela sua fala, quanto também pela experiência prática que você nos trouxe. Nós tivemos aqui algumas perguntas, vamos responder aqui o que for possível. Então, Howard, qual é o maior benefício ao aplicar esse conhecimento? E qual seria a melhor mudança e maior impacto que você obteve na sua vida, em seus relacionamentos, inclusive, ao aplicá-lo?
Well, I think that's a great question. First of all, I'd like to thank whoever asked it. I guess the best part is it's given me the ability to better regulate and utilize my emotions. Emotion is this misunderstood part of ourselves. It's something people fear. They think emotions are bad. They don't want to feel emotion. Emotions are going to hurt, those kind of feelings. But emotion's a great gift. It gives us a beautiful, visceral experience of life. But emotions can go up and down and all around, and they're difficult to manage. And by learning to develop my heart, I've been able to learn how to experience the emotions that I want to experience and not have the emotions take me the wrong direction as often. Sure, I can get upset from time to time, but basically I have the ability to choose what emotions I want to feel. And to me, that is one of the greatest gifts. If you think about it, wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to feel what you wanted to feel when you wanted to feel that way? To be able, you say, I want to feel happier right now. And you actually can do that. Well, you can do it a lot better when you develop more of your heart's intelligence. The other part of the question was around, I think, sort of a wider view of what was the big change for me along the way. And that's difficult to answer because it's been such a long and unfolding process. It's been a long time for me. As I mentioned, it still feels like an adventure. I still feel like a young man, exploring. But I'm an older person now, and I've been doing this for close to 50 years. And so it goes back a very long way. And there have been many, many moments along the way that have been very important for me, especially in making choices about my life. I'll share one briefly with you about a major decision made that changed the direction of my life significantly. Up until I was about 30 years old, everything about me was about music. I was a drummer, a professional player, professional performing drummer. And I did that from the time I was like 18 years old to the time I was 30. And it's what I did. It's who I was. It's what I knew. Along the way, I began to be interested in developing myself into my personal and spiritual growth. And over time, that began to change me. And I reached a point in my life over time when I recognized that I had some choices to make. Did I want to continue to pursue life as just a musician, or did I want to do something else? Did I want to try life differently? And it was a very, very hard decision because the music world is addictive. And I was addicted to it. And I finally, through help with people like Doc Schulte, the founder of HeartMath, and my friends, and people like JJ, who also, believe it or not, was a performer. JJ was a major Broadway star, the lady who's helping me today. I made a choice to let music go and to see what life would bring me. Now, if I had not made that choice, I would not be sitting here with you right now. I would not be a part of something like HeartMath. I would not have had the opportunity to be an author of successful books or to travel the world and as a speaker. I would be a drummer. I don't know that that would have been a bad life, but I can safely say it wouldn't be as good a life as I have today. And that was an important decision. And it took heart to make that decision because I had to go deeper inside to be truthful and honest with myself, and then to find the courage to take those steps. And without my heart, I would have never taken those steps. And that's just a story about a personal decision made a long time ago that I think represents many of the decisions I've made in life, even the ones I make moment to moment, day to day, the decisions I try to make from my heart.
Maravilha, Howard. Obrigado por compartilhar conosco um pouco da sua história. Não sabia que você tinha sido baterista, que história bacana. E nós temos aqui mais uma pergunta, e essa será a nossa última pergunta da noite. No final eu trago mais um recado especial para vocês. Vou falar sobre a disponibilização do vídeo de hoje e algumas outras formas também de contato com o Howard e com o HeartMath. Então, a última pergunta é: o Instituto HeartMath já mediu, através de aparelhos espalhados pelo mundo, variações no campo energético global causados por eventos de grande comoção mundial. A pergunta é: durante a pandemia, vocês observaram mudanças no campo energético global?
Well, I don't know for sure that we have. We see changes of all kinds. We have which you're alluding to is on the Institute of HeartMath side, their nonprofit, through Dr. Roland McCready and the research team there, working with other scientists around the world. They've developed technology, very sensitive technology, that measure changes in what I'll call the Earth's energetic fields. They're measuring changes in the geomagnetic field and the ionosphere. Lots of research has been published showing that changes in the geomagnetic field and the ionosphere affect us. They affect us individually and collectively as a society. They affect human health and behavior. And their technology that they are deployed around the world is measuring subtle changes in these fields. And a lot of the work that they're doing is around providing even better research on the effects the fields have on us. But more importantly, I think they're also looking at a hypothesis that we are affecting the fields, that the collective thoughts and feelings of the 7+ billion people on the planet now are actually impacting the Earth's energetic fields. Now, observations are being taken 24/7 all the time, and a lot of data comes in, and that data has to be analyzed. Once the data begins to be analyzed, if they see things that are really important, then it has to be documented properly, and then research papers have to be published. Now, one of the things about our scientists that's important is they do science the right way. They will not make claims until they have definitive scientific evidence and proof. So I'm sure they're observing changes during the pandemic. I'm sure that they are studying those changes and analyzing that data, but they don't just randomly share that information. Eventually, they will publish papers on it, and we'll be able to see it through that lens. And so even me, they don't tell me all these things, because it's just not time yet. So we are doing some really advanced research that will produce some amazing results in the future. And so we all need to be patient. Not that this question was impatient, but we all need to be patient with that process, because there are some big implications to this research. I'll share what the big implication to me is, and then we'll end the question part. If it proves to be true that all of our thoughts, our feelings, our prayers, our meditations, and our intentions are having a measurable impact on the earth itself, it will scientifically validate our belief in the effectiveness of them. We pray for people when they're sick. Why? Because we believe that it will help them. But if science ever shows the fact that that is probably true, that we are in fact able to influence the earth itself through our collective thoughts, feelings, and intentions, that's a huge scientific breakthrough. And the last thing that I'll say about it is what I said this in the heart math experience. Okay, so what's the big deal about all that? Well, the big deal to me is to recognize that we are not alone. We are all connected. We are all in this together, and we are not alone. So I'm going to turn this back over to Carolina and Gustavo and the trainers and the team in just a minute, but let me take that a step further in my closing. We are not alone. And tonight, we've all experienced a collective shared experience. We've all been here together. We have connected energetically across the barriers of time and of space. Time doesn't matter, space doesn't matter. We're in an energetic field of connection right now with one another, to where we are broadcasting and receiving heart to heart. And so as we move forward through the changes in our lives and the changes in the world, I just want you to know that you're not alone, and that you have something beautiful inside you that you've experienced in your life that's wanting to unfold even more. And it's the love and the care that you have in your heart. So move forward in your life with the feeling of love and care, starting with yourself. Give that to others. Walk in the world in a way that demonstrates more of the characteristics of love. I guarantee you, as you do that, things will change. Life will get better. I look forward to the next time we're together, however that is, on the program that we're going to do, the more in-depth program we'll do in May. And of course, in the future, when I'm able to come back to Brazil. But I want to thank you from my heart to yours for your time and your attention and your interest in this work, and for being here with me tonight, and for being patient through our little technological challenges. I've enjoyed it. I feel fulfilled by our time together, and I look forward to time again. And so all the very, very best to you. And please take care of yourself, and especially take care of each other.
Howard Martin, inspirador. Muito obrigado pelas suas palavras. Foi realmente uma noite incrível. Eu agradeço a todas as mais de 300 pessoas que se conectaram, que nos acompanharam. Tivemos mais de 1.000 inscritos. Essa gravação de hoje vai estar disponível no YouTube do canal da Escola Brasileira de Ciências Holísticas, tanto em inglês quanto em português, possivelmente amanhã ou depois, é questão só da gente subir os vídeos. Agradeço a paciência de todos com as questões tecnológicas. Nós treinamos muito, fizemos 3 ou 4 ensaios, mas, como se diz, jogo é jogo e treino é treino. Que bom que nós conseguimos resolver as questões a tempo, e é sempre um aprendizado. Estaremos usando essa mesma tecnologia nos dias 10 e 12 de maio, onde o Howard estará conosco para aprofundar esses conhecimentos, para que a gente possa realmente ativar essa inteligência do nosso coração. O curso, o workshop está com um bom valor de desconto no site, o link está no chat aí para vocês, recomendo vocês entrarem lá, verem todas as informações. Para quem se inscreveu no workshop gratuito, está aqui conosco, temos mais 20% de desconto, basta você digitar workshop, quando você for fazer a sua inscrição no campo especial de desconto. No canal do YouTube do Congresso Internacional de Felicidade, vocês também encontram a palestra completa do Howard Martin, em 2019, no Congresso Internacional de Felicidade, além da participação dele em uma live conosco no ano passado, montada pela Felicidade e Saúde Mundial. Então, eu aguardo vocês nos dias 10 e 12 de maio, segunda e quarta-feira, num evento que também ficará gravado, caso você não possa acompanhar conosco o evento ao vivo, ele vai ficar gravado para que você possa assistir na sequência, e o Howard vai poder aprofundar esse conhecimento aqui conosco. E, além disso, nós teremos a presença dos treinadores certificados pelo HeartMath Institute, certificados pelos Estados Unidos. Os treinadores são brasileiros. Nós teremos práticas conduzidas pelo Howard com eles, em grupos pequenos, para que vocês possam se apoderar bem desses instrumentos, dessas ferramentas, aplicarem em vocês mesmos, levarem para outras pessoas. E ainda, como um bônus especial, os primeiros 30 inscritos vão ganhar uma sessão de atendimento individual com um treinador do HeartMath. Eu vi aqui no chat vários elogios para a Carol, a nossa intérprete. A Carol é realmente uma estrela, fez a tradução do Howard no Congresso Internacional de Felicidade, trabalha conosco há muitos anos. Eu preciso agradecer o Rafa por todo o apoio, suporte, logística, Juliana Sessi, Mônica Bizuca, Roberta Moreira e Patrícia Lin, que estiveram conosco e com vocês no chat e nas perguntas e respostas, a Simone por ter feito a ponte, e a todos vocês por acreditarem, por estarem aqui conosco nesse momento, e juntos, como o Howard disse, vamos atravessar, e vamos atravessar firmes. Obrigado, gente. Uma boa noite a todos. Um grande abraço.